Hello friends. If you were born on February 24th, congratulations. You belong to one of the most emotionally intricate, spiritually gifted, and secretly powerful birthday profiles in the Zodiac. On the surface, February 24th people may appear soft-spoken or gentle, but underneath lies a powerhouse of intuition, compassion, and creative fire that, when properly channeled, can light up the world, or at the very least, completely captivate those lucky enough to know you. Let's explore the layers of your astrological DNA, from the Western Zodiac to Vedic signs, from numerology to the Celtic Druids' wisdom. If you've ever wondered why you feel deeply connected to certain people, why your heart breaks just a little more than others, or why you see beauty where others see nothing, this is your cosmic blueprint. Western astrology, Pisces magic. You are a Pisces, born on February 24th, and that alone says more about you than you might think. Pisces isn't just the final sign of the Zodiac, it's the most emotionally layered, spiritually potent, and mystically wired of them all. You are ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, imagination, illusions, and the unseen. That means you don't just feel emotions, you swim in them, breathe them, and often become them. You have an almost magical ability to pick up on unspoken thoughts, secret energies, and subtle emotional shifts in any room you walk into. Where others see faces, you see souls. Where others hear words, you hear meaning. That's your superpower, and sometimes, your curse. Pisces is often called the old soul of the Zodiac, and if you were born on February 24th, that rings especially true. You don't just learn from your own life, you seem to carry the quiet weight of many lives before this one. You have a deep, poetic sadness that can't be explained, only felt. You understand sorrow even if you've never been broken. You understand love even if you've never been held. That's the Piscean paradox. Your wisdom comes not from experience, but from something far older, something sacred. It's no wonder people feel seen when they're with you, not just looked at, but truly seen. And in a world that rushes past emotion in favor of logic, your energy is like water in the desert. Your ruling element, water, makes you a natural empath, artist, dreamer, and healer. You're never satisfied with surface-level anything. You're after truth, feeling, connection, and beauty. You often exist halfway between reality and fantasy, and that's not a flaw. That's your creative zone. That's where your visions live. In love, in art, in life, you bring softness to the sharp edges of the world. But just like the ocean you're born under, you are deep, unpredictable, and capable of great stillness, or powerful emotional storms. Those who love you must understand both sides of that sea. You may find yourself misunderstood by more grounded signs, especially when you follow your intuition over practicality. But make no mistake, your instincts are almost psychic. You know what's coming before it arrives. You feel people's pain before they speak it. You're not too sensitive, you're just more in tune with the frequencies others have forgotten how to hear. Pisces is the end of the Zodiac for a reason. You hold the lessons of all the signs within you. You are not just one personality, you are a symphony of archetypes wrapped in compassion and stardust. Love romance. For you, love is never ordinary. You don't date, you don't casually see someone. When you fall, you drown. Love for the February 24th Pisces is a soul-to-soul connection, a merging of energies that defies explanation. You often don't fall in love with someone's appearance or accomplishments, you fall in love with their essence. Their sadness, their hopes, their hidden songs. You're drawn to people who have shadows, because you understand the beauty in pain. And while others run from emotional complexity, you find it fascinating, irresistible, even. You're not here for surface-level flirting or predictable pickup lines. You want to know someone's secrets. You want to feel their childhood in their voice, their wounds in their silence. And once you love someone, you remember everything. Their birthday, their favorite book, that thing they said once about the stars. You love like a storyteller, remembering every chapter, even when they don't. Because your empathy runs so deep, it's easy for you to confuse compassion with connection. You may fall for someone not because they're your match, but because you see their brokenness and want to hold it for them. You're a natural healer, but here's the warning. healing someone is not the same as loving them. Your heart is a sacred space, not a rehab center. Choose lovers who give as much as they take, not ones who drain your light to warm their coldness. That said, when love is right, it's transcendent. You don't just build a relationship, you build a world. A world where gestures are sacred, glances are entire conversations, and intimacy is emotional, physical, and spiritual all at once. You are loyal, deeply romantic, and unusually forgiving. Even when hurt, you'll often give second and third chances, because your heart wants to believe in redemption. But don't mistake loyalty for surrender. Learn to walk away when love costs you your peace. Your ideal partner is emotionally open, imaginative, and spiritually aligned. Someone who's unafraid of tears or silence. Someone who lets you be soft, but who also protects that softness from being used. You don't need someone perfect, you need someone present. Someone who shows up emotionally, day after day, with gentleness and truth. Love for you is never light. It's sacred, it's real, it's the closest thing to magic in this human world, and no one understands that better than you. Marriage. For someone born on February 24th, marriage is never a transaction, a social expectation, or a routine decision. It's a profound act of trust, love, and emotional surrender. You marry for one reason only: soul-level connection. Your heart simply doesn't know how to stay in something that isn't spiritually aligned. And because you're ruled by Neptune, you often carry a deep, idealistic vision of what love should be, not just romantic, but transformative. Marriage to you is the ultimate emotional contract, a private vow that exists beyond paperwork or ceremony. It's about choosing one person over and over again, in the quiet moments no one else sees. Your ideal partner isn't just attractive or charming. They are emotionally intelligent, introspective, and spiritually awake. You're drawn to people with inner depth, those who have been through things, but still carry softness in their voice. You need someone who's not afraid of emotional honesty, someone who won't just hear you but feel you. Surface-level partners or emotionally unavailable types leave you cold. You crave warmth, authenticity, and the courage to be vulnerable, to say, "This is me, scars and all." Within marriage, you are deeply nurturing, sometimes to the point of self-sacrifice. You're the kind of spouse who remembers every detail, who they are when they're anxious, what comforts them when they're tired, and how to love them in their most fragile hours. You believe in showing up emotionally, not just physically. You listen deeply, you support their dreams, you offer the kind of comfort that makes people feel like they've finally come home. You don't just marry someone, you become their safe space, their sanctuary. However, this same sensitivity can also lead to imbalance. Pisces, and especially those born on February 24th, have a tendency to overgive in love. You may try to carry your partner's emotional burdens in addition to your own, sometimes silencing your needs in the process. You may find yourself overcompensating for their struggles, confusing martyrdom with love. It's a quiet erosion that happens when your empathy goes unchecked. That's why boundaries in marriage are not just healthy for you, they're necessary for your survival. You must learn to say, "I love you, but I need this space," or "I support you, but I can't fix everything." It doesn't make you less loving. It makes your love sustainable. Though you're not always traditional in your views on marriage, once you commit, you are fully in. You take vows seriously. You believe in emotional fidelity as much as physical, and betrayal, especially dishonesty, can cut you more deeply than words can express. Still, you're naturally forgiving, often willing to work through storms as long as you feel seen, heard, and valued. But when you do leave, it's rarely impulsive. It's after you've already mourned the marriage emotionally, sometimes for months or even years. The most fulfilling marriage for a February 24th Pisces is one rooted in mutual emotional support, artistic or spiritual connection, and shared inner growth. You want a partner who walks beside you, not ahead, not behind, through life's waves. Someone who holds your hand through sadness, dances with you in joy, and knows how to speak your emotional language fluently. That's not just love for you, that's home. Sex intimacy. For you, sex is never just a physical act, it's a sacred ritual of trust, energy exchange, and emotional unveiling. If you were born on February 24th, you approach physical intimacy as something that transcends the body. It's about touch, yes, but also about eye contact, breath, rhythm, and the silent music two souls make when they really see each other. You crave union, not just release. For you, intimacy isn't about performance, it's about presence. In your world, sex begins long before the bedroom. It starts with the way someone speaks to you, the tone in their voice, the look in their eyes when they talk about something that matters. You are deeply roused by connection, by emotional honesty, poetic moments, and vulnerability. Without that, even the most technically perfect sex can feel cold and empty. You might still go through the motions, you're a people pleaser at heart, but your soul won't light up unless your heart is in it. For you, chemistry is spiritual first, physical second. You are intuitive in bed, often sensing what your partner desires before they can even express it. You listen with your skin. You feel with your breath. You move with a natural rhythm that often feels choreographed by something divine. Sex with you is like a dance, fluid, sensual, unpredictable. You're not afraid to explore, to experiment, or to get lost in the moment. You bring creativity and imagination into the experience, often blending romance with fantasy, physicality with emotion. You're also incredibly giving, sometimes to a fault. You want your partner to feel worshipped, adored, safe. And because you pick up on their emotional state so easily, you adjust yourself instinctively to what they need. But here's the trap. When you prioritize their pleasure and emotional comfort too much, you risk disappearing in the process. It's important to remember that intimacy is a two-way current. Your needs, your desires, your fantasies, they matter just as much. Trust is everything for you when it comes to sex. You may appear confident, but your heart is fragile. If you're rushed, pressured, or emotionally ignored, you shut down quickly. You might continue physically, but your spirit will already have left the room. This is why quick hookups or casual flings often leave you feeling hollow or energetically drained. You need time. You need connection. You need to feel safe before you can truly open up. When you're with someone you trust, someone who knows how to hold you emotionally and match your depth, sex becomes something transformational. It becomes healing, soulful, and even transcendent. You're capable of giving and receiving cosmic-level pleasure, the kind that makes time disappear. When that kind of connection happens, it's not just passion, it's alchemy. Ultimately, sex and intimacy for you aren't just important, they're essential to your emotional well-being. It's how you express love, heal wounds, deepen bonds, and remind yourself that your softness is a strength, not a weakness. In the right hands, your sensuality becomes a kind of magic, and your partner, if they're lucky, gets to experience not just your body, but your soul. Friendship. As someone born on February 24th, your friendships aren't shallow connections, they're emotional ecosystems, rich with feeling, memory, and meaning. You're not just a friend, you're a safe haven, the person people turn to when life gets too loud, too hard, too real. You possess a kind of emotional gravity that draws in every kind of personality, the joyful, the broken, the misunderstood, the intense, because somehow, you get them all. You listen without judgment, you comfort without needing to fix. You reflect people back to themselves in a way that makes them feel both known and accepted. In a world of surface-level interactions, your presence is rare, grounding, and deeply healing. Your intuition is your greatest gift in friendship. You can sense when someone is hurting, even when they haven't said a word. You know when to reach out, when to stay silent, and when someone just needs to sit next to you in shared silence. It's not uncommon for people to tell you things they've never told anyone, not because you ask, but because they feel safe. That safety, that emotional permission you give, is your magic. And yet, you're not the open book people assume you are. You share your energy generously, but your own heart remains quietly guarded. You may seem emotionally available 24/7, but underneath your compassion is a strong instinct for self-preservation. When the emotional tide gets too high, you retreat, not to punish anyone, but to protect your energy. You need solitude like oxygen. It's how you reset, rebalance, and remember who you are beyond the noise of others' needs. You're drawn to friendships with depth, mystery, and loyalty. Shallow acquaintanceships don't sustain you. You need people who can sit with your sadness, celebrate your quiet joys, and honor your complexity. True friendship, to you, is a sacred contract, unspoken but deeply felt. You'll go to the ends of the earth for a friend you love. But if someone takes your kindness for weakness or your empathy for emotional labor they feel entitled to, you'll quietly slip away, sometimes without a word. You also have a subtle power that people often overlook. You may not be the loudest or most dominant personality in the group, but you influence the emotional tone of every room you enter. If you're hurt, the group feels it. If you're at peace, it ripples through everyone. That's how energetically tuned in you are, and why it's so important for you to protect your space from people who drain, exploit, or manipulate. Your most fulfilling friendships are with those who understand that emotional connection goes both ways, those who check in on you, even when you're the one who usually checks in on others. You need people who let you be soft, but also remind you that your softness is strength. Who see the ocean inside you and don't expect you to always be the life raft. In the end, you don't need many friends. Just a few who speak your language, respect your silence, and love you with the same quiet depth you offer to them. Business career. Despite your gentle aura and poetic soul, you are far more ambitious than most people realize. You may not shout your goals from rooftops or draw attention to your achievements, but you have big dreams, and an even bigger drive to make them real, especially if those dreams serve a higher emotional or creative purpose. Born on February 24th, you're powered by a quiet inner engine that thrives on inspiration, meaning, and soulful impact. You don't chase success for ego or status. You chase it because you want your work to matter, to heal, to move, to change lives. You are highly intuitive in professional environments, which gives you a unique edge. You can walk into a meeting and immediately sense the real agenda behind the words. You understand what motivates people, what scares them, what lights them up, what they're hiding. This makes you an incredible collaborator, leader, or strategist, especially in fields where emotional intelligence is valued. You can manage teams without dominating them, lead projects with grace, and diffuse tension with a few thoughtful words. You're a born empath, but also a quiet commander, shaping the room without needing to control it. Creativity is your lifeblood, whether it's writing, music, design, acting, therapy, photography, holistic healing, or even storytelling through branding or social media. You shine when your work allows you to blend emotion and expression. You're not built for cold, sterile environments that suppress individuality. You need color, texture, story, soul. You need work that engages your imagination and stirs your empathy. If your job is too mechanical or meaningless, you'll slowly check out, emotionally, mentally, and eventually physically. That's why many February 24th Pisces are drawn to entrepreneurship or freelance paths. You need freedom, to move at your own rhythm, to follow inspiration when it strikes, and to create something uniquely your own. You may thrive in non-traditional careers or craft hybrid roles that allow you to integrate different passions. And even when you do work within a structured setting, you still find ways to personalize your approach. You're not a cog in a machine, you're the artist repainting the machine in watercolors. Another hidden strength? Your visionary mind. You can see where trends are headed before others even realize change is coming. You might not be the first to act, but you often feel the future, especially in fields related to psychology, technology, healing, or the arts. Your instincts are rarely wrong, even if you can't explain them logically. Trust them, they're one of your greatest assets. Your challenge in business isn't talent or drive, it's emotional burnout and self-doubt. Because you feel everything so deeply, professional rejection can hit you hard. You may struggle to ask for what you're worth, especially if your work is tied to your heart. You might undersell yourself, over-deliver, or hesitate to take bold steps out of fear that you're not ready. But here's the truth. Your gift is real, your vision is valuable, and the world needs more leaders like you, soft, smart, and soulful. Surround yourself with collaborators who respect your emotional nature, and you'll flourish. Build a career rooted in your passions, and success will follow. not in a loud, flashy way, but like a rising tide, steady, natural, and impossible to ignore. Numerology, the power of 6. Being born on February 24th ties you intrinsically to the vibrational essence of the number 6, a number revered in numerology as the cosmic caregiver. This number doesn't just describe a personality trait, it describes a mission, a soul-level calling to bring healing, balance, and emotional refuge into a world that often feels chaotic. The energy of 6 is maternal, intuitive, artistic, responsible, and deeply loving. You were born to create beauty where there's pain and safety where there's fear. That's not poetic exaggeration, it's your emotional DNA. The number 6 is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, aesthetics, harmony, and compassion, and those energies flow through you like a second heartbeat. You have a natural instinct to soothe, to uplift, to care, whether it's through touch, conversation, acts of service, or simply being present. Your mere presence has a calming, grounding effect on those around you. You often find yourself being the emotional anchor in any group, even when no one assigned you the role. Why? Because people feel safer with you. They open up, they lean in, they heal. This life path number often draws people to professions or life choices that involve service, healing, or protection. Teachers, counselors, artists, holistic healers, therapists, parents, veterinarians, designers, community organizers, these are roles that don't just align with your personality, but with your purpose. And even if you don't officially work in one of those fields, you still act as the emotional support system for your circle. You're the friend who brings soup when someone's sick, the coworker who notices someone's off before they say anything, the partner who remembers the hurt they didn't express. Your sense of responsibility is deeply internalized, not just toward individuals, but toward the emotional atmosphere around you. You can't help but want to fix what's broken, mediate conflict, and bring people together. But here lies one of your greatest challenges: overgiving. Because your heart is so open, you often say yes when you need to say no. You absorb others' emotions like a sponge, often prioritizing their healing over your own well-being. You might stay in toxic dynamics longer than you should, simply because you feel needed. But being needed and being valued are not the same, and part of your numerological growth involves learning that difference. Boundaries aren't easy for 6s. They feel unnatural, even cold. But they're not walls, they're filters. Healthy boundaries allow you to give without depleting yourself. They allow you to care for others without carrying all their burdens. Your lesson in this lifetime isn't just about nurturing others, it's about learning how to nurture yourself, without guilt or apology. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You're only responsible for how lovingly you contribute to the spaces you're truly meant to hold. The flip side of your emotional depth is your love for beauty, harmony, and creative expression. Many 6s are deeply artistic, not necessarily in a fine arts sense, but in how they arrange life. Whether it's a home, a table setting, a playlist, or a moment of kindness, you bring an aesthetic of care to everything you do. You make life feel better, more thoughtful, more beautiful, and that's not a small thing. That's your Venus energy in action. At your highest vibration, the number 6 allows you to be a healer of hearts, a builder of homes literal and emotional, and a quiet leader through love. But to stay in that vibration, you must remember, you can pour into others only as long as your own cup is full. Rest isn't selfish. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Your softness is powerful, but only when it's protected. Celtic Druid Horoscope, the Pine Tree. Under the ancient wisdom of Celtic Druid Astrology, your tree sign is the pine tree, assigned to those born between February 19th and February 28th. Known as the particular one, pine natives are defined by an elegant blend of restraint, depth, solitude, and emotional strength. While the modern world may overlook tree horoscopes, the Druids believed trees were sacred beings with their own consciousness, mirrors of human souls. And as a pine, your soul is one that values refinement, purpose, and unshakable inner quiet. At first glance, you may appear calm, collected, even somewhat distant. You're not the type to immediately reveal your heart or chase the spotlight. But beneath your cool surface lies a world rich with emotional complexity and creative fire. In fact, people often mistake your self-contained nature for aloofness, but in truth, you're simply selective. You know your energy is sacred, so you don't offer it lightly. And once you do trust someone, your loyalty is deep, long-lasting, and almost unbreakable. Pine tree personalities carry a quiet wisdom, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be heard. You are often drawn to solitude, not because you dislike people, but because it's in silence and stillness that you feel most connected to your true self. Nature is often your church, your sanctuary. Whether it's a walk in the woods, tending to plants, sitting by a lake, or simply watching the wind in the trees, these moments allow you to hear your thoughts more clearly, and to reconnect with what matters. There is a sense of precision in how you move through the world. You appreciate quality over quantity in all things, in friendships, in relationships, in books, clothing, even conversations. A small, beautiful detail, a handwritten note, the scent of old paper, the sound of a cello, can move you in ways others might never understand. You're sensitive to your environment, which is why your living space often reflects your inner landscape. There's likely a quiet order to your surroundings, a touch of minimalism, or a warm intentionality in how you arrange your world. Everything has meaning, everything has purpose. Emotionally, you're resilient, but it's not loud or theatrical. You endure pain with grace, hold sadness close without collapsing under it, and recover from heartbreak with quiet strength. You rarely show your full wounds to the world, not out of pride, but because you believe in healing from within. Still, your silence can sometimes make it harder for others to know when you need help. Remember, strength also means allowing yourself to receive. Creativity runs through you like sap through the trunk, but yours is not always loud or public. Your artistry is often expressed in subtle ways, a line of poetry written at 3 a.m., a melody hummed under your breath, a room designed to soothe, or a dish cooked with intention. You don't create to impress. You create to feel, to process, to express, to exist fully. The pine tree also holds a hidden wildness, a quiet defiance. While you may appear traditional or even introverted, you have a powerful inner independence. You don't follow the crowd. You don't bend to every trend. You know who you are, and even when the world tries to rush or redirect you, you stand rooted. Like the pine tree that thrives in harsh winters, you endure, and even flourish, in adversity. In relationships, you are deeply devoted. But you need time, patience, and emotional safety to open up fully. You offer a kind of loyalty and consistency that is rare in today's transient world. When you love someone, you love them through seasons, storms, and silences. But if betrayed, you will quietly close the door, and rarely reopen it. Your greatest gift as a pine tree? Your inner constancy. In a world that moves too fast, that prizes loudness over depth and chaos over intention, you remind us all of the beauty in stillness, the power in refinement, and the enduring strength of something, or someone, who stays rooted, no matter the wind. Vedic Indian Astrology, Shatabisha Nakshatra Influence. In the ancient Vedic system of astrology, most individuals born on February 24 fall under the powerful and enigmatic influence of the Shatabisha Nakshatra, also known as the 100 Healers. Governed by Rahu, the north node of the moon, this lunar mansion is steeped in themes of mystery, transformation, intellect, and healing. If you were born on this day, your cosmic DNA carries the signature of a deep seeker, someone not content with surface-level explanations, someone who walks straight into the unknown not to escape reality, but to understand it more completely than most ever will. Shatabisha is a constellation rooted in paradox. It is both scientific and mystical, logical and intuitive, analytical and visionary. Those born under this nakshatra are often naturally drawn to hidden systems of knowledge, things like psychology, quantum physics, spiritual philosophy, Ayurveda, esoteric healing, metaphysics, astrology, and even the intersection of science and spirituality. You don't accept things at face value. You ask, what's behind that? And what's behind that? Your mind is always peeling back the layers, hungry for deeper meaning, refusing to be satisfied with the obvious. Because Rahu is your ruling planetary force, you possess an edge, a spiritual hunger that propels you to explore paths others fear or ignore. Rahu doesn't play by traditional rules. It urges you to push boundaries, seek innovation, and reject the status quo. That's why people with strong Shatabisha influence often feel like outsiders in conventional circles. You may struggle in early life to conform to expectations, and you might even feel misunderstood, too intense, too deep, too solitary, too weird. But that's your superpower. You aren't here to blend in. You're here to reveal truths, to heal systems, to challenge what's broken, both in society and within yourself. This nakshatra is sometimes referred to as the veil breaker. You're not just a student of life, you're a detective of the unseen. Many born under Shatabisha are able to sense energy shifts, patterns, and emotional undercurrents that others completely miss. This makes you highly intuitive, even if you operate from a place of logic and research. You are as comfortable with facts and data as you are with dreams and symbols. That blend of intellect and intuition makes you a natural healer, especially in unconventional or alternative modalities. Emotionally, your life is likely to follow a pattern of transformation and rebirth. You may go through multiple identity shifts, some triggered by personal crises, others by inner realizations. The first third of your life may feel emotionally volatile, filled with highs and lows, as though you're shedding outdated versions of yourself every few years. But this isn't instability, it's growth. Around your late 20s to early 30s, you often experience a kind of karmic cleansing, a deep inner reorganization that changes the course of your life. What follows is usually a period of great clarity, authenticity, and purpose. You may appear emotionally distant at times, not because you lack feeling, but because you feel too much and need time to process in solitude. Like the physician who doesn't flinch at blood, you can hold space for others' pain without being overwhelmed, and yet, your own pain often goes unspoken, bottled up until it erupts. Learning to express your emotions without analyzing them is part of your soul's work in this lifetime. Vulnerability, for you, is not a weakness, it's a gateway to even greater healing power. Careers suited to your nakshatra energy often involve research, technology, medicine, metaphysical sciences, social reform, writing, and healing arts. You're a natural at synthesizing complex information and translating it into something that transforms lives. You may also feel a magnetic pull toward humanitarian work, not necessarily in traditional roles, but in movements or missions that seek to challenge injustice and bring healing to collective systems. Your spiritual path is not linear. You may explore many belief systems before settling into a practice that feels right. You're not here to follow dogma. You're here to understand why we believe what we do, and to use that knowledge to elevate consciousness. At your highest vibration, Shatabisha natives are visionary healers, emotional alchemists, and truth seekers who transform pain into wisdom. You don't just illuminate, you initiate. You help others see the shadows they've buried and guide them through it with courage and clarity. Your destiny is not to avoid discomfort, but to walk into it with the lantern of insight, and then come back with the medicine. Flower horoscope, the violet. Your birth flower, the violet, is no coincidence. It's a poetic mirror of your personality, soft on the outside, but full of resilience, depth, and quiet power. The violet doesn't scream for attention. It grows in modest places, beneath trees, along shaded paths, in quiet corners of the world. And yet, once you see it, you never forget it. This is exactly how your presence works. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. In fact, you often prefer to remain in the background. But those who take the time to notice you find something extraordinary, a soul full of integrity, loyalty, wisdom, and love. The violet is a flower of faithfulness, and that energy runs deep in your blood. You are the kind of person who remains emotionally loyal, even across distance or silence. You don't forget people, and you don't easily let go of those you care about. When you form bonds, they aren't temporary. They root themselves quietly in your heart and often stay there for a lifetime, even if life pulls you in different directions. You may not always express your affection with loud declarations, but your love is fierce, constant, and true. This flower is also associated with modesty and humility. Just like the violet, you tend to understate your accomplishments. You'd rather let your work speak for itself than promote it loudly. You're rarely the person who pushes their way forward for attention or praise. And yet, behind that humility is a quietly burning brilliance. You observe deeply, you understand more than you say, and you are often 3 steps ahead in your thoughts, silently guiding those around you without ever needing to be seen. The violet has long been linked to spirituality, memory, and the inner self, a fitting metaphor for someone as introspective as you. Your inner world is rich with dreams, questions, and visions. Even if you appear reserved, those who get close quickly discover that you carry an entire universe behind your eyes. You find beauty in the small things, a certain chord in a song, a fleeting expression on someone's face, the smell of rain. That sensitivity may seem delicate, but it's actually your deepest strength. What makes the violet so powerful isn't its ability to dominate a garden, it's its ability to thrive in stillness, to bloom quietly, to survive where others cannot. That's you. You don't need attention to validate your worth. You know who you are. You know the depth of what you offer. And when you finally let someone into your emotional world, they are gifted with a kind of love and loyalty that's rare, grounding, and unforgettable. Like the violet, you are a quiet force, a reminder that not all power is loud, and not all love needs to be performed. Yours is a love that stays, a wisdom that lasts, and a beauty that lingers, long after the moment has passed. Birthstone energy, amethyst. The amethyst, with its captivating violet hues and ancient spiritual symbolism, is more than just a birthstone for those born on February 24th, it is a direct energetic reflection of your Piscean soul. Known as the stone of tranquility, spiritual insight, and divine connection, amethyst has been cherished across centuries by mystics, healers, and seekers, the very archetypes that resonate with your deeply intuitive and emotional nature. Holding an amethyst is like holding stillness. It's a moment of clarity in a storm of feelings, a breath of cosmic peace in a world that often feels too loud for someone as sensitive as you. Amethyst's signature gift is its ability to bridge the gap between the physical and spiritual realms. It enhances your natural ability to receive messages from your higher self, guides, dreams, and subconscious mind. For someone born on February 24th, a date already soaked in mystical energy, this stone is a powerful ally. You often sense things before they happen, feel emotions you haven't been told about, and dream vividly with messages embedded in metaphor. Amethyst doesn't just support those abilities, it amplifies and protects them, helping you differentiate between divine intuition and emotional noise. As a water sign ruled by Neptune, you tend to absorb the energies of others, often unconsciously. You walk into a room and feel its weight before a word is spoken. You're the person who cries during a stranger's story, who aches when the world is too cruel, who can't sleep when someone you love is in pain. While this empathy is a gift, it can also become overwhelming, and that's where amethyst becomes essential. It acts like a psychic filter, shielding your emotional field from energetic overload and helping you regain emotional equilibrium without closing your heart. One of the most profound traits of amethyst is its ability to calm the nervous system and quiet mental chatter. For the deeply imaginative Pisces, your mind can sometimes become your greatest adversary, especially when you're stuck replaying conversations, wondering if you've said too much or not enough, doubting your worth, or drifting into nostalgic sadness. Placing an amethyst under your pillow or holding it during meditation can help anchor your energy, soothe your overactive inner world, and connect you back to a place of centered awareness. This gem also enhances creative flow, making it ideal for artists, musicians, writers, and anyone whose heart expresses itself through beauty. It doesn't stimulate you like a fire sign's crystal might, it guides you. It whispers, nudges, and opens subtle portals of inspiration. If you've ever felt blocked or emotionally flat, meditating with amethyst or simply wearing it against your skin can gently bring your creative self back to life. Spiritually, amethyst is often associated with the third eye and crown chakras, the centers of higher knowledge, vision, and connection to the divine. For you, whose soul is already attuned to symbolism and subtle energies, working with this stone regularly can help you access deeper layers of wisdom, unlock recurring dream patterns, and even stabilize your psychic sensitivity so that it doesn't exhaust you. You may not identify as a psychic, but you are, in your own quiet, profound way. Amethyst helps you own that, without fear or confusion. But perhaps the most underrated power of this stone is its grounding influence on your heart. In moments of heartbreak, uncertainty, or internal chaos, amethyst is the friend who reminds you, you are safe, you are whole, and your feelings are sacred, but they are not the whole truth. It keeps you from drowning in your own ocean. It holds you afloat. Let it rest beside your journal. Tuck it into your coat pocket on anxious days. Sleep with it under moonlight. It's not just a gemstone. For you, it's a spiritual companion. A reminder that even in your most emotionally intense moments, peace is never far. It lives inside you, and amethyst helps you return to it. Compatibility. In astrology, compatibility isn't just about personality. It's about emotional rhythm, energy flow, and the subtle dynamics of how two souls meet each other in their rawest forms. As someone born on February 24th, you are a Pisces through and through, intuitive, romantic, emotionally layered, and spiritually charged. That means your most compatible matches aren't necessarily the ones who look good on paper, they're the ones who make your soul feel safe, seen, and softly held. Let's explore who brings that out in you. Cancer is your emotional mirror. Also a water sign, Cancer is nurturing, deeply empathetic, and devoted to the concept of home, both as a space and as a feeling. Together, you create a love that is cozy, intuitive, and profoundly healing. There's no need to explain your moods to each other, you just know. You both treasure affection, security, and emotional depth, making this one of the most natural, seamless pairings in the zodiac. With Cancer, you're free to feel everything, and they'll never call you too sensitive. Scorpio brings intensity and transformation. At first, this might seem like a storm waiting to happen, but under the surface, you both crave emotional authenticity and soul-level connection. Scorpio's depth matches your own, and their loyalty speaks directly to your need for emotional safety. Together, you challenge each other, grow through each other's darkness, and build a love that is powerful, private, and nearly unbreakable. When trust is solid, this bond can be life-altering. Taurus offers you grounding, devotion, and sensual warmth. This earth sign provides the emotional security and calm presence you sometimes struggle to find in yourself. Taurus doesn't try to fix your feelings, they just hold space for them. And in return, you offer Taurus a world of imagination, emotional color, and spiritual awakening. This is a relationship built on quiet rituals, physical connection, and lasting love. They build the foundation, and you fill the walls with magic. Capricorn, though very different from you on the surface, offers a surprising complement. Where you dream, they plan. Where you float, they ground. Capricorn helps bring your visions into form, while you help soften their edges and remind them to feel. This pairing works best when both partners respect each other's strengths, when you don't take their structure as coldness, and they don't mistake your emotional waves as chaos. Together, you form a power couple of vision and action, one that can build something meaningful and lasting. Now, let's be real, not every sign is an easy match for your Piscean heart. Gemini may intrigue you intellectually, but emotionally, they often leave you feeling unheld. Their changeability and tendency to rationalize feelings can leave you craving more depth, more emotional constancy. What feels like fun for them can feel like whiplash for you. You speak in feelings, they speak in fragments. It's not impossible, but it requires intense emotional translation. Sagittarius is free-spirited, bold, and full of life, but they often struggle to match your need for emotional consistency. While they chase the horizon, you want to build an emotional sanctuary. You want to talk about dreams and soul contracts. They want to backpack through life, one adventure at a time. Unless both partners make conscious efforts to bridge the emotional gap, this can be a case of mismatched emotional languages. Aries might come in with fireworks, passion, confidence, bold action, but their directness and impulsiveness can feel like emotional bulldozing to your delicate inner world. They often don't mean harm, but their inability to slow down and tune in can leave you feeling dismissed or misunderstood. Your softness may confuse them, and their fire may exhaust you unless both of you learn to truly listen. But here's the key. Love isn't defined by sun signs alone. The stars write a blueprint, but we live the architecture. Your moon sign, rising sign, and especially Venus placement all color your romantic dynamics, often more profoundly than your sun sign. So if you've ever fallen for someone incompatible, don't dismiss the connection. Love, after all, is the one thing Pisces never gives up on, and when it's real, you'll feel it in your bones. Compatibility isn't about perfection, it's about resonance. And when someone matches your emotional rhythm, when they see your soul and don't run from its depth, that's when the real magic begins. Hidden gifts of the February 24th personality. You are emotionally intelligent to the point of clairvoyance. This isn't metaphor, it's the truth of how your mind and heart operate. You can walk into a room and sense the tension before anyone speaks. You read body language like it's a novel. You feel the subtext between words, pick up on tone shifts, and intuitively know when something is off, even when others insist everything is fine. This isn't just empathy, it's energetic fluency. You're able to understand the emotions of others not just because you care, but because you literally feel them as if they're your own. In relationships, this makes you incredibly attentive and tuned in. In life, it makes you a natural counselor, a silent guide, and a deep well of wisdom for those who need to feel seen. It also means you need to protect your energetic space, because you absorb what others carry, often without even trying. You forgive, but you don't forget, you learn. People might think of you as soft, and yes, your heart is open, your love is deep, and your compassion runs wide. But you are not naive. You remember the lessons behind every betrayal, every disappointment, every heartbreak. You may forgive quickly, not to excuse behavior, but because you know holding anger only damages your spirit. But that doesn't mean you forget. You catalog experiences, you study patterns, you understand people, sometimes better than they understand themselves. And with every misstep someone makes, you evolve. You become wiser, more self-aware, and more precise about where you give your energy next. You are the emotional historian of your own life, and your ability to rise from pain, armed with knowledge, is one of your most underrated superpowers. You are an artist, healer, and quiet rebel rolled into one. You don't fit into conventional molds, nor were you ever meant to. You may express yourself through painting, music, poetry, dance, or design, or you may use your intuition to guide others through trauma, confusion, or life transitions. You are a creative soul with a healing presence, even if you've never taken an art class or earned a therapy license. People feel better around you. They feel heard, softened, less alone. And beneath your gentle energy is a quiet rebellion, not loud or aggressive, but rooted in a refusal to accept what's shallow, cruel, or unjust. You challenge the world simply by staying tender in a culture that rewards hardness. You defy expectation by being emotional in spaces that tell you to stay composed. Your rebellion is radical because it is soft, and it is incredibly powerful. Your tears aren't a weakness, they're a form of wisdom. You feel deeply. You cry during movies, when someone else is in pain, when you see beauty in something ordinary. You cry not only from sadness, but from truth. That ability to break open, to express emotion freely, is not a flaw, it's a signal of strength. Tears are the soul's language, and you speak it fluently. Your emotions are a guidance system, alerting you when something matters, when something's wrong, when something is ready to change. You don't cry because you're fragile, you cry because you're fully alive. And when you let yourself feel openly, you give others permission to do the same. You model what emotional bravery looks like, simply by being honest in your vulnerability. You carry ancestral magic in your bones. This is not just a poetic phrase, it's a felt sense you've probably noticed your entire life. Maybe you've been drawn to ancient cultures, mysticism, healing traditions, or spiritual practices you can't quite explain. Maybe you've had dreams that feel like memories, or you've experienced déjà vu so vivid it's unsettling. That's because you're connected to something beyond this time, this body, this lifetime. Whether through intuition, dreams, rituals, or inherited wisdom, you carry threads of those who came before you. There is lineage in your soul. You may be the first in your family to say the quiet truths aloud, to break the generational patterns, to heal what others could not. And it's not by accident. You are here to complete what others started. You are the living bridge between the pain of the past and the peace of the future. So what's your cosmic mission? It's not to lead armies, run corporations, or chase applause, unless those things align with your soul. Your mission is to feel, to heal, and to inspire. To be the one who listens when others talk, who notices when others hide, who senses when others ache. You're here to tell the emotional truth, not necessarily with words, but through presence. Through art, through kindness, through intuition, you help people understand what they're too afraid to name. You don't just hear their stories, you translate their silence. Your gift isn't performance, it's presence. You don't need to shout to be powerful. You don't need to dominate to be remembered. You don't have to fight to be relevant. You just need to be true to your nature, sensitive, intuitive, emotionally rich, and spiritually deep. That's your power, that's your path. And if you've been wondering where you belong, what your role is, or whether your softness is too much for this world, know this: you are not lost. You are being aligned. The peace you're searching for is not somewhere out there, it's already unfolding inside you. And the people meant for you, the ones who understand, honor, and love you as you are, they're not far. They're searching, too. They're searching for you.